Hey y'all, how you doing? When I was a kid, I was obsessed with cryptids. Your Bigfoots, your Loch Ness Monsters, your Mothmen, your Banksies, any creature that might or might not exist. Whenever my family would go to our local library, I had to check out a book on one of them and read the whole thing cover to cover, even if I'd already read it before. I guess in case 8-year-old me ever got a chance to kill a Bigfoot. What's that? Why no, I've never been formally diagnosed with anything. Why do you ask? This obsession has followed me into adulthood, and because the alternative would be learning impulse control, I'm always looking for new ways to feed it. And as luck would have it, I found a way through my board game obsession, which is of course one of the 3 major traits a man can choose from as he approaches 30. Horrified, that's not right. Horrified is a series of board games by the German company Ravensburger. The general premise is that 1 to 5 players take the role of agents for the Federal Bureau of Paranormal Investigation, or FBPI, which the Germans aren't supposed to know about. Who told? The players are tasked with battling various monsters who have invaded small towns, protecting citizens and containing the threat. There are multiple sets featuring themes like the Universal monsters, International monsters, and Greek monsters, but obviously today we'll be focusing on their cryptid set, aka American monsters.
Home of the grave. Good work, Ravensburger.
So, why are we here? Well, for 2 reasons. First, board games are expensive, and I thought it might be useful if I gave my thoughts on this and let people know whether it was worth checking out. But also, one of the reasons that I bought this is that it is designed to be playable for 1 person, and I can never get other people to spend time with me. I mean, try board games with me. So I thought it might be interesting if I took on the game at its absolute hardest by battling all 6 monsters at once by myself and documenting the experience for you. Yes, I am playing a board game by myself. The stakes have never been higher. Eat your heart out, Evel Knievel. Our introduction to this world comes courtesy of the board itself, which is decorated with a file from the FBPI, as well as a beautiful map of the states covered in cryptids, a detail that's very pretty, but because it's on the back of the board, means nothing because we won't see it at all. I kid. I appreciate this kind of attention to detail immensely. It looks great, but it also creates an environment for storytelling. It gets the players into the mindset of these characters, and it makes it more fun to play. The file informs us that cryptids have overrun the town of Cross Creek, which of course makes up the actual board. It's your standard small town, with a campground, a diner, and a town center dedicated to Bigfoot, that has recently been wrecked by Bigfoot. Never meet your heroes, I guess. The game comes with a lot of little pieces, which I totally understand can be overwhelming, because I was very overwhelmed. Screw the monsters, keeping track of all this would be horrifying. I'm dead inside. But as it turns out, not every piece is necessary every time you play the game. Some are, but several pieces are only utilized when playing against certain monsters, meaning that the number of pieces you actually have to keep track of each time is cut down drastically. Unless, of course, you decide to play against all 6 monsters at the same time. I do not have an organization brain. What am I doing? There are really only 4 things involved in each game: items, perk cards, monster cards, and dice. Items are scattered across the map and mostly help in combat. Perks can be activated during the player's turn to inhibit the monsters, or boost the investigators. Monster cards make the monsters move, attack, and activate their powers, as well as summon citizens to the board, and the dice are rolled to determine how much damage attacks and powers do. The citizens aren't always on the board, but are summoned when you draw one from the monster deck. When a monster kills one, that advances your terror marker, but moving one to their safe zone removes them from the board and grants you a perk card. Oh right, the terror marker. Look, it's a skull. You feel terror yet? There are 2 ways that the players can lose the game. Either the monsters can advance the terror marker to its end zone by damaging enough players or killing enough citizens, or you run out of monster cards and, according to the guide, you've taken too long and the town has been abandoned, which... Come on, y'all, I'm going as fast as I can. The players take down the monsters by satisfying their win conditions, first doing something from the monster's mythology that weakens them, and then moving in for the kill using the appropriate number and/or combination of items. I know that seems like a lot of information, but the guide actually does a great job of presenting all that information in a digestible format, starting with basic setup and moving into the rules for individual monsters. I was still intimidated, but taking it step by step, I was able to ease into the rules of the game and gradually come to understand it, and any questions that I had were easily answered. That said, there is one minor issue. This being a German game, there are a few translation errors in the guide. Now, most of them don't matter, like, for example, how occasionally the book will say revel instead of reveal. But I got thrown for a loop when it said perk cards were used during the hero phase, something that is referenced exactly 0 other times in the booklet. It took me longer than I'm proud of to realize that what they were referring to was the investigator phase, which was translated the same way every other time it was referenced in the guide, so what the heck? But in the end, that's a minor issue. Overall, the guide does a great job of teaching you how to set up the game and then moving on to the monsters. Speaking of, let's talk about the most interesting thing about this game: the monsters. Horrified features a cryptid lover's wish list. There's Bigfoot, the Chupacabra, the Jersey Devil, the Mothman, the Ozark Howler, and the, Banshee of the Badlands? Which are, more like urban legendids, turns out. 4 out of 6 ain't bad. Each monster comes with a unique power that's activated when you roll an exclamation mark on the dice. Banshee gives you a death countdown via music, the Ozark Howler can make an investigator automatically take damage, the Mothman has killer glutes, etc. Each monster also has a unique win condition that has to be met before they can be defeated, like assembling a photo of Bigfoot, or figuring out the secret identity of the Jersey Devil. In each case, it's a simple 2-step process to bring each monster down. I playtested each one individually just to make sure there wasn't one that had a huge difficulty curve, but ultimately understanding how to defeat each monster and pulling it off was a cakewalk. The difficulty of this game isn't meant to come from the individual monsters, but in handling a bunch of them at once. While we're here, I have to compliment the game's art style. It's definitely more cartoony, but the designs of the monsters are unsettling and intricate. They're menacing, but they have character. It feels like you're stumbling on these things in the woods. Special mention goes to this Bigfoot design, which is grimy yet goofy, and really works with the game's thesis that he just wants to get away from everyone. Kudos. Finally, there are the investigators, aka the player characters. There's survivalist Colonel Mustard, classic TMNT April O'Neil, a fusion of Steve and Argyle from Stranger Things, and Hollywood's Rachel Sennett. You can tell it's supposed to be her because she's so Rachel Sin lit. Rachel Sennett, this is me shooting my shot. If you want to meet up, my home address is... Each investigator can take a number of actions equal to the number on their card. They can either move, pick up an item, bring over a civilian from an adjacent space, play a perk card, or take an action against a monster. They also have unique abilities, like boosting an item's strength, or teleporting to a cryptid's location, or nothing, if you're the reporter. Seriously, under abilities they just wrote none with a frowny face. Bro, why are y'all so mean to him? He's wearing a fedora, his life already sucks. Trust me, I know. So that's the game, and overall, I think it's really well designed. It's relatively easy to understand and set up, but its variety of monsters and combinations thereof mean that you could play this game plenty of times and never really have the same experience. It doesn't really play like any other game I own, but it has enough familiar elements to be approachable. It takes inspiration from its aesthetic to create new and interesting methods of gameplay, and it all just happens to look really good. So yeah, I like this game a lot. But the question is, can I beat it at its hardest? Let's find out. Alright, I got the board set up and I'm feeling pretty optimistic. All my cryptids are in their place, there's a pretty good spread of items. I decided to play as Rachel Sennett for this one, not because I'm attracted to her, which my lawyers have informed me for legal reasons should be a joke, but because her ability to teleport to different cryptids' locations can be invaluable in this game. In plotting out my first move, I noticed that Bigfoot was hogging a whole lot of resources over at the cabin, so I teleported over to him, stole all of his items, and then activated a bear trap. Finally, I moved my investigator to the intersection to lower the chance of being attacked by Bigfoot at the start of the monster phase. Luckily, the card I drew at the start of the first monster phase didn't move him, so Bigfoot wasn't an issue. Mothman was, though. Alright, well first let's resolve the card's effects. The icon in the right-hand corner means that I place 2 items on the board. Then, because of the card's written effect, I move Bigfoot to the trailhead next to the Ozark Howler.
And they were roommates.
Now it's time for all of the monsters listed at the bottom of the card to move, and if they reach me, attack me. Both the Chupacabra and the Jersey Devil moves 1 space each, but neither one reaches me, so no concern there, but it does seem like the Mothman has decided to throw Moth hands. That's okay though, it'll be fine as long as he doesn't roll a ton of damage, and you all saw that coming. Now I have to make a choice. I could sacrifice all my items to negate the hit, but that would leave me defenseless and I'd lose a goat. So instead, I choose to take the hit, which advances the terror marker and sends me to the hospital, because any defeated investigator has to restart at the hospital.
Ah, shit. Here we go again.
So yeah, we're off to a rougher start than I'd like. But being at the hospital gives me a chance to move, grab another item, and set another bear trap, which I need to do 4 times before I can kill Mothman. I forgot to mention that until just now, but that's fine, right? Please don't be mad at me. For my 4th action, I teleport back to Mothman? Am I stupid? Haha! Psych! No, you are the stupid. My perk card lets me skip the next monster phase. Yeah, now who's scared of women? I set 2 items, move to the sheriff's station, steal their stuff, a cab, and set my 3rd bear trap. Looks like I finally got one over on old Lamp Boy. Oh, come on! Along with the normal items, this card puts the Eye of Mothman on the board. Now if he rolls a power icon, he flies to it and damages anything in his path. Bigfoot and the Howler move together, but not like together, they're just friends, jeez. And the Banshee exits the cemetery and enters my crosshairs. To defeat the Banshee, I have to move my violin icon backwards to the safe zone on her sheet. To do that, I have to spend an item to try and roll a power or hit symbol on the dice. Everything rides on this. Heck yeah. I move the violin, and then I spend the required 6 points worth of items to take out the Banshee. Not gonna lie, that feels... okay. I was trying to do that thing where you like, jerk your head down really quickly and the glasses cover your eyes, but these appear to have gotten stuck in my hair. So, I'm just gonna keep playing the game. Okay, this is not a bit. These actually... There we go. These actually got stuck in my hair. Oh, and I pick up a goat. I kid you not. That's stupid. I'm not putting that in the video. Delete that. The next monster card is Always Waiting, which puts 2 items on the board and teleports the Jersey Devil to the nearest citizen. But ooh, there aren't any on the board yet, tee-hee. Chupacabra rolls a hit, but I spend an item to negate it. The Howler moves away from Bigfoot. I really thought they'd make it. And as the frenzied monster, Mothman gets to move. Oh, the frenzy marker goes to the monster with the lowest frenzy order number, unless a card changes it. Potentially, this can result in a monster moving and attacking twice if its symbol and the frenzy symbol are on the card. I didn't mention this until just now because I forgot. Like and subscribe for more Primo documentary content. I start my next turn by activating the final bear trap. Now, to beat West Virginia's best, I have to lure him to a space with a trap and spin the right items. I end my turn by moving to the farm and depositing 2 goats. I need 6 to beat the Chupacabra. Monster time, and now I draw Haunted Music, which would have moved my violin forward, but oops, I took care of that. Now the monsters go about their business. Bigfoot meets with the Howler to talk some stuff out. Mothman goes to City Hall to challenge the Devil's Council seat, and the Chupacabra decides I need to learn that food tampering is a federal crime. He lands a successful hit, and the only thing I have to negate it with is my goat. A Chupacabra killing a goat? Who could have seen this coming? I decided my next best move was to teleport to the Devil and the Mothman. This probably seems like a bad idea, but hear me out. Because of the Devil's rules, when I'm at City Hall, I can summon a citizen to the board and use their card as the monster card for that phase, effectively meaning that that's a turn where I control which monsters move. In addition, I really need to work on figuring out the identity of the Devil, because once I defeat him, I can shuffle the citizens back into the monster deck, which will give me more time to solve this cryptid crisis. To uncover the Devil's identity, I need the clue tokens that the citizens drop when rescued, which means that I need to be getting them on and off the board as quickly as possible. So having lost my goats and with the clock ticking, City Hall's really my best bet. I decide to summon Melvin the Teacher since he's close enough to grab. This allows the Howler to move, as well as the Mothman. Yeah, unfortunately all of the citizens seem to activate the frenzied monster, including Melvin, so confrontation with the Mothman is unavoidable with this plan. But I've had bad luck with monster attacks twice in a row so far. I'm willing to bet that the odds are in my favor this time. I got the heart of the cards, baby! Don't gamble, kids. Once again, I go back to the hospital and the terror marker goes up. Boy, she's real close to the end, huh? Is this because I showed off that picture of your butt? I'm not the only one who does that. Okay, shake it off. I'm sure it'll all be good from here on out, probably. Just gotta remember what I've learned. So I teleport back to City Hall.
You should have gone for the head.
Then over to the school to grab Melvin. I collect the items there, then head towards a safe zone at the ranger station. Thank goodness I put some distance between me and those monsters, and I gotta move Mothman's eye to my space. It's a weirdly well-defined butt on a Mothman statue, I'm gonna mention! Not much else happens though. Bigfoot and the Howler move, items get placed, but no one gets hurt. I use my next 3 actions to get Melvin to the station, saving his life, because I'm basically a hero. This grants me a perk card and reveals the first clue to the devil's identity. He likes flowers. Of course, it's been Miley Cyrus this whole time! Flowers narrow down the devil to one of these 5 citizens: Elena, Mari, Nora, Mr. Cash, or Sydney. And at the risk of coming off biased, this man's watched someone die. Next monster card is Stalking Their Prey. After the item drop, the Chupacabra gets to move to the nearest animal item and kill it. The devil moves once, and the Howler returns to Bigfoot. Back to me, I gather all the items because I'll be damned if Chumpacabra gets my goat again. Among those items is my first footprint of the game. Bigfoot leaves a footprint behind each time he moves a space, and in addition to showing off dim toes, om nom nom, collecting one automatically reveals a piece of the puzzle that we need to solve in order to defeat Bigfoot. I then move to the mansion, which, being in the upper right corner of the map, gives me breathing room between me and the monsters. But not much. Luckily, there's no easy way for the monsters to get up. Ah, dagnabbit! It's not even an insult, man! Everyone thinks you have a sweet badonkadonk! No items on this one, so the eye gets placed, and the besties move in. I feel like I have a target on me, so I head to the Chupacabra, grab items, and get out of there. The next monster card is our old pal Rainstorm, which erases all the footprints on the board, which is a bummer. It also moves Bigfoot to the town center, right next to me. But then I realized it was just what I needed. The Howler and the Chupacabra move toward me, and so does Mothman. Straight onto a bear trap, which means that as my turn begins, I get to move over to him, spend the necessary items, and totally punch him in the butt. His perfectly sculpted butt. Yep, I was pretty stoked. Until I remembered I had 4 more cryptids. Back at it, I guess. I retreat to the bait shop and end my turn. The next monster card is called No Place is Safe. Items go down and the Chupacabra gets transported to the farthest animal item from it and eats it. Then he and the Ozark Howler move 2 spaces, with Choopy Doll getting real close to me. And it was now that I realized how fast my time was running out. I hadn't made much progress on Bigfoot, the Chupacabra, or the Jersey Devil, and I'd made 0 progress on the Ozark Howler. It was going to take a Galaxy Brain move just to stand a chance of winning. Luckily, I'd been hit in the brain by a Samsung Galaxy before, so a plan came to me. Unfortunately, to do it, I need the rich guy. I swipe up the items in the bait shop, shout out to local business, then teleport to City Hall, where I summon Mr. Cash to the board, specifically the mansion. Other than getting more items on the board, this moves the Chupacabra 1 space, but that's all. I've managed to stay safe a second longer. This ends my turn, but because I used a citizen, I get to skip the monster phase and begin my next turn. I move to the diner and grab a goat while I'm there. Talk about a kid's meal! No, geez, stop it with the goat jokes! Then I hop to the mansion and end my turn. Now I can take my time and get into the hospital without panic. Really? Yeah, so the devil immediately flies to the mansion, and Biggie and Chupac move in from the south. So my plan isn't broken, but it's a lot more dangerous. I go ahead and move Cash to the hospital. This puts me at risk of a sudden onset Chupacabra attack, but it gets me another perk card and reveals that old JD's human alter ego is wearing a tie. And as someone who hates ties, vindicating. Monster card time, and it's my least favorite of the bunch. Dead End. Once the items hit the table, I gain a Death Omen, a token that means when I'm attacked, I automatically take a hit. The only way to get rid of them is to get sent to the hospital by a monster, which will raise the terror marker. Basically, I'm naked and vulnerable in the middle of this town, which is something I've done before, but still. Devil moves to the ranger station, and Cabra Walters jumps me as I leave the hospital. What do you mean, not covered by my bundle? I discard 1 item to negate the automatic hit from the Omen, and then another for the hit he actually scores. Which is a bummer, but hear me out. It's gonna be worth it. I teleport over to the devil, run into the mansion, and grab my final goat. Then for my 4th action, I teleport over to Bigfoot. My initial plan was to make Bigfoot run away from me, since he has to move away from any investigator that he starts on the same space with. A thing I learned just now! I should really have read this thing. That plan turned out to be moot, though. I drew another rainstorm, and Bigfoot was sent to the swimming hole. The Chupacabra moves towards me, but there's no combat. The devil moves down, presumably toward Georgia. At this point, I counted. I had 5 monster cards left in the deck. That meant 5 turns until the game ended, not counting any citizen summons. I needed to take out the devil ASAP, and I needed to be able to get around the board as quickly as possible, which meant that it was time for Safe Zone. Safe Zone allows me to move each monster up to 2 locations. Combine that with my investigator's ability to cryptid port, patent pending, and I can essentially move all the monsters across the map and use them as fast travel spots. I move the Howler to the mine, where you have to spend specific randomized sets of items in order to beat his first phase. I move the Devil to the mansion and the Chupacabra to the general store, both just to get them out of my hair. Bigfoot, I leave where he is. He's fine. Good boy, Bigfoot. Then I citizen summon Councilman Jimmy to City Hall, meaning I can start leading him to his safe zone at the mansion. The Chupacabra leaves the general store, but that's okay, because we aren't heading north just yet. I need to drop off my kids. Okay, that was the last one, I swear. I use up the rest of my turn to move to the farm and place a goat. Then for my next phase, I place the remaining 3. The Chattanooga Chupacabra can be killed now. Now, here I need to apologize. Sort of. See, it's not really clear whether or not when I do my teleporting move, I can take a citizen with me. In a personal game, frankly, I would leave it up to a house ruling, but given the circumstances, I thought I would play this time under the assumption that it wasn't true. But apparently I got wrapped up in my dope goat plan, because here I teleported to the mansion with Jimmy. I don't know that it affected the game in the long run, and I don't even know that I broke a rule, but I did do something inconsistent with the way that I've been playing the game for you guys, and for that, I'm sorry. Anyways, assuming the board game police haven't locked me up, I still have a video to finish. Jimmy and I teleport to the mansion, freeing him.
I have to go now. My planet needs me.
Gaining another perk card, and revealing the final clue. The devil wears gloves, which means it's Sydney the Bellhop! What a twist. This does actually present a bit of a problem. See, in order to defeat the Jersey Devil, you have to defeat him at the starting location of his secret identity, which in Sydney's case is the resort, which is at the bottom of the map. And I'm currently up north with the Jersey Devil, so somehow I have to lure him down and to the left of the map in order to kill him. Next monster card's effect only applies if Creepy Nix is around, so all it does is move Bigfoot and the Chupacabra towards me. And for once, that's exactly what I wanted. I leave my gilded debauchery palace in the hills and, spending 2 items, beat a strange rare creature to death. USA! USA! With that, the devil gets frenzied and half of the cryptids are down. I activate my convoy card to move myself 2 more locations, then use my remaining actions to move to City Hall and summon Abe the groundskeeper to the cemetery, basically trying to stretch out the monster deck as long as I can until I can lure JD to the resort. Abe's card moves in 1 space towards me, but that's it. I spend all 4 of my actions retrieving Abe and returning to City Hall, which is near his safe zone. The stadium. The old creepy groundskeeper likes to hang out at the stadium. Should I be saving this guy? Next monster card is the Hunger, which comes with no items and only has a special effect if the Chupacabra is around. It does move the Howler and the Devil, but that shouldn't be it. Excuse me? 3 spaces? Ruh-roh, Raggy. Yeah, the Howler moves to the high school, and the Devil finally catches up to me after years of watching anime illegally. Crunchyroll, sponsor me and I'll stop! I remove 1 item because of my Death Omen, then hope this 1 die won't be a hit, but it is. Goodbye, 2nd item. I rush Abe to the stadium, please just be living there while you record Donda, and draw a perk card. And what do you know? It's the exact one I need. Holy cow, God exists and he loves me! I teleport over to Bigfoot, move to the swimming hole, and end my turn. Now I draw my next monster card. I place my items, and there's no effect without the Banshee, so all I need to worry about are the monsters. And time to panic. I should have stayed next to Bigfoot so that he'd run away from me, but instead, he's walking towards me. Mechanically, Bigfoot operates differently from the other monsters. He rolls dice before he moves, and if he rolls a power symbol, when he walks up to an investigator or a citizen, he scares them and automatically moves up the terror marker. And considering my luck so far, I'm feeling like I'm 1 step closer to doom. But God is good all the time! Per his rules, Bigfoot reaches me, then moves 1 more time to get away from me, as he cannot end his turn on the same space as an investigator. The devil moves 1 space, and now it's my show. First, I pick up the items around me, including the footprints old Tarantine toes left behind, which reveals more of the Bigfoot photo. Then I activate Cave-In, which allows me to move 1 monster 3 spaces, which is exactly what I need to get the devil to the resort? And with my combo of items, I have just enough for an exorcism of pain. Yeah, when you get to hell. Well, that's actually where you live, so, You'll probably be very comfortable there. Anyways, the Ozark Howler is frenzied now. But more importantly, the citizens return to the monster deck, giving me more time to beat the game. I end my turn by picking up the remaining footprint, which means I only need one more to reveal the full picture. Alright, we've only got 2 cryptids left, but we're not out of the woods yet. Both of these guys require a large amount and range of items to beat them. Like I said earlier, the Howler requires 3 random sets of items in order to beat him, and if I don't have them when I get up to the mine, it can send me on a scavenger hunt for what I need, which of course will eat up valuable time. Bigfoot, meanwhile, requires that I get one more footprint in order to reveal the full puzzle. Then I have to spend items to solve the puzzle, and then finally I have to spend 3 animal items in order to beat him. Both of those obviously require a lot of items, which I'm light on, so pressure. Let's go. I draw the next monster card, and oh, it's our old pal the Antichrist! Items go down, and the Howler moves in. As for Bigfoot, it's not clear if he has to move every time he starts on the same space as an investigator, or if it's just when the card specifies that he's supposed to move, but for the purposes of the... Wow. For the purposes of this video, I've decided that it's going to be every time the monster phase starts. So Bigfoot also moves away. I decide the best move is to take Sydney up towards the cabin, because there's a bunch of items there, I can drop off Sydney at the motel, and because 2 women escaping into the mountains to flee cryptids sounds like a killer Thelma and Louise sequel. My perk card this time is Ancestry, which allows me to either place Gisela DeVille anywhere, or move a monster 3 spaces. One of these matters! And the monster card goes to... Uh-oh. Ranger Elena goes to the ranger station, Bigfoot becomes the frenzied monster, and he gets to roll to scare me again. And this time I guess he brings an embarrassing childhood photo or something because it works. Serious mode, or as serious as I can get playing a board game by myself, we're in the endgame now. If the terror marker advances for any reason, I lose the game, which means I have to take these 2 out ASAP. I activate Ancestry and move regular 8 but bigger back to the intersection from whence he came. Then I scoop up what's at the motel and flee to the cabin. My plan is to grab all of the items here and use them for the Howler, which should work as long as no idiots put themselves in danger. I'm editing this. I know when I should stop talking. Items go down, and Willie goes to the motel, which Bigfoot almost immediately reaches. But it's starting to feel like you do want people to see you. Is this an attention thing? I grab Willie, I know what I said, and then, knowing Bigfoot has to run from me, I end my turn next to him. Next card summons Mari to the general store. After COVID, I guess they'll make people go to work no matter what, huh? 3 items go on the board, and this is a first for me. They're the last 3 items in the bag. As we go on, we'll remember all the times we had together. Bigfoot runs away to the high school, presumably being mistaken for Teen Wolf, and I spend my movement to get back to the cabin where the weapons are. Ah, that's the most I've ever sounded like the Unabomber. Now I use my card on the trail to take 2 more actions. I steal all the items at the cabin. Remember kids, looting's okay if board games are involved. Then end my turn so I can stay as far from Bigfoot as possible. Next monster card is Nora from the diner, who, again, looks as thrilled as I would be to be working in these conditions. Bigfoot moves in and it's back to me. I move to the mine, use 1 action to reveal the first trail marker, and spend the required items to reveal the second. 1 more and I can take out the Howler. The next monster card is Josie, who goes to the farm. She's far enough away that she's not in any danger, but the effect of her card pushes both cryptids really close to me. On my turn, though, pay dirt. I solve the Howler's trail. Unfortunately, I don't have the items to bring him down yet. So instead, I teleport to the Howler with my citizen again, which is annoying because it breaks a rule, but it's my own personal rule, so hey, no harm, no foul. I did break one of the game's rules here, though. I only realized it while I was editing, but I miscounted the number of actions that I had and took an extra step to get to the diner. I'm as upset with myself as you are, trust me. But genuinely, I'm very sorry. I intended to follow the rules of this game as best as I could for this video so that you guys could get a good experience of playing this game, and I messed up here and messed up later as well, so for that I do apologize. And to make things worse, the cops show up! Sheriff Ford's arrival means a few things. The Howler now takes the frenzy icon, each citizen moves 1 space towards their safe zone, and our frenzy buddy moves 3 spaces. And technically he's supposed to attack whoever is nearest, but given that he can reach us both and the rules do allow investigators to choose who gets attacked in a tie, I decide to take this one. The Howler rolls 2 hits. Combined with my Death Omen, that means I have to lose 3 items. Also, the Sheriff's effect gets Willie to his safe space. the tavern. His home life seems fun. And I get the perk card Sonic Safety, which is another Move the Monsters type card. I grab the girls and move to the motel. This gets me away from the Howler, but also means I can grab a gun, which should allow me to finally take out the Howler on my next turn. Except suddenly I realize I might not get another turn, because in my rush to get a weapon and do the most damage I possibly could, I forgot to grab Nora, and the Howler is right next to her. Which means if the Howler moves on the next turn, it has to attack her. And lo and behold, the next card I draw does just that. Okay, this is it. If the Ozark Howler rolls a hit, I lose. So, this is gonna seem real silly, but do you mind blowing on these for me? Oh. Never mind. And just like that, my long experiment abruptly and anticlimactically ended in failure. I'd come to the end, only to lose to my new OTP. All I could do was pack up the game, put it back on my shelf, and wonder. So, in the end, I failed. But, more importantly, what did I learn? What have I gained from this experience? Nothing. This was a complete waste of time. Okay, if I'm being honest, no it wasn't. I had a lot of fun doing this. I may have not beaten the game, but playing it like this forced me to strategize and be flexible in ways that I didn't expect. Not to mention making this video itself has been a challenge. I've had to figure out how to light a board game, how to light myself, which, yeah, sorry about those first 4 minutes. I've never done anything this long before. By the way, the next video will not be this long. But yeah, I challenged myself as a creator and as a player, and it didn't come out perfect, but I learned a lot. And next time, I feel up to it. I feel ready to take on whatever comes next. And I got to share all of it with you. And I hope you've had as good a time as I've had. I hope, if nothing else, this video's made you interested in what's now one of my new favorite board games, and I hope that you're encouraged to go out and check it out for yourself, and maybe even try this challenge. You're probably gonna get farther than me. You're probably more organized than I am, statistically speaking. Before I go, 2 things. I want to say thank you to everyone who watched the M&M video. I didn't expect it to do as well as it did. Didn't expect 2,000 people to watch it. I know that in a digital space that's technically not a lot, but I feel really honored, and I think it's really cool that 2,000 people heard what I had to say. I really appreciate you guys checking out that video, and I don't know if this one's going to do as well, but anyone who stuck around from that video, thank you for coming back, and if you're new here, I'm happy to meet you. I hope you'll stick around. On the off chance that this does have a lot of eyes on it, I wanted to take some of the grace that I've been given and pass it on. The shirt that I've been wearing this whole video, even when editing, I didn't have to wear it while I was editing. I got this shirt from Sunset Electric. It's the band of my friend Nathan. He makes really excellent music. Nathan is super talented and also possibly the nicest person I know and have ever met and will ever meet. So please go and check him out on Spotify. His 2 projects are Sunset Electric, which is, again, the shirt that I've been wearing for months now, and also Nathan Carlton and The Noise. I'll link both of those in the description. As for me, once again, thank you. If there are 1,000 of you here, if there are 100 of you here, if there's 1 of you here, I appreciate you taking the time to watch this thing that I made. It's not perfect, but I'm really proud of it. So thanks for sharing it with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.